is up, Insomniacs? Midnight Sun 518 here, and back with another amazing upgrade for Sasha, my 2017 Tacoma TRD Pro. This one is a super long awaited, like very much needed upgrade, and I cannot wait to do it. So, I have a little sneak peek. I don't even know if I'm pointing at it. I have an all-new suspension system for the Tacoma. I ended up getting Elka 2.5 shocks with the remote reservoir, the 3-inch lift option, and then I got the Deaver Stage 3 leaf packs, which are rated for 700 to 1,000 pounds continuous bed load. I am so excited. This is going to be amazing. Next time I go out on the trail, I don't have to worry about the whole sliding them skids all across the bottom of the trail. Still need to do the bigger tires, but this is step 1 of 4-ish in regards to getting the new tires, or effectively getting the new tires installed. So I'm very excited because I've heard very good things about the Elka shocks, and it's gonna be so sick. So here we are with the wind looking at stock ride height. Nothing crazy. It looks good. Don't get me wrong, but it'll look better with bigger tires, which I need to lift it for. Sort of side reference with me sitting next to it. I am pretty much 6 foot even, and my head comes up to effectively the roof rack. So like if I'm sitting up over the hood or something like that, it's coming right around mid-torso. You know, I can lean on it pretty easily, and that's not going to be the case once I have the lift. Anyways, so I don't have any like real-world off-road type of speed things in order to really test the shocks. So in that aspect, you're really going to have to take my word for it after 6 months to a year of me driving with the truck on the Elka suspension. And I'll do an update video at some point on that. This is just kind of the initial thing. Well, traffic allowing, this next little stretch coming up here once we hit the new pavement is going to be pretty bumpy. Would not like to do that. So I'm not going to do that because I got a dude coming up with my ass. It doesn't really help. Well, I mean, this is kind of good enough at the moment. You can get a sense of some of the bumps. It gets a little bit worse further up. Oh, and of course, they're slowing down. Ooh, yeah, I think this is the bad part. That kind of feels like a washboard. You know, not a crazy washboard like you'd see on a dirt road, but definitely much more washboardy than I would like to have on a street that's paved. Freshly paved at that. And it's an immediate red light on the other side. What kind of crap is this? Alright, so that was right around 28, 29 miles per hour. So I've got another little bump set here that I can hit. So I'm going about 41 miles per hour. And then we'll see how the suspension reacts. It's not bad. So something else I'm actually going to do real quick. I'm going to pop the truck in the 4-wheel drive. Because while we are doing this install, I don't have a parking brake in the front. And so I want to be able to ensure that I have something other than putting wooden blocks under the truck. I want to make sure I have something to make sure that the truck doesn't move whenever I take the back tires off the ground. As with any major project that involves taking off wheels, you start by braking torque on the wheels. There's going to be plenty of cleaning and stuff to do under here. All right, so I'm in a little bit of an unsafe predicament, sort of. So I lifted the side of the truck so I can do one side at a time. I do have it in 4-wheel drive, so if it starts to roll away, the transfer case should stop the truck from rolling on the front tires. But I do have the front tires chocked, well, the driver's side, the passenger's off the ground. And then I also have a jack stand resting underneath the rear axle in order to catch it if the truck decides to fall. And then I have a jack stand that is not engaged with the frame right now on this side because I don't have a tall enough jack stand. So never work underneath a vehicle that the hydraulic pressure of your lift is what's holding it up. But I will not be directly underneath the car. And I do have a couple of things in order to protect me. And if it rolls away, I just jump out of the way. And then I have a great time later. So it looks like everything's a 19mm, which is gonna be a lot of fun because I don't have a 19mm wrench. I do have this crescent wrench, this adjustable crescent wrench, that I will use, but it would have been nice if I had a 19mm open and a box wrench. Instead, the highest one that I have is an 18. So I'm gonna use the crescent and this one. I'm gonna bust this bolt here. So the one going through here. Then we've got the one on the front for the front hanger. And then we also have the 4 bolts for the 2 U-bolts that are holding the leaf pack in place. Well, there's the side-by-side. We have the old TRD Pro shocks. It's a 4-leaf pack, 3 regulars and 1 overweight leaf. There's the new Deaver Stage 3, which comes with 7 regular leaves and then 2 of the overweight leaves. So these 7 are supposed to hold anywhere between 700 and 1,000 pounds continuous, which is amazing. Here's your old bushings for the old leaves. And we have to install some new ones. The other thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to swap the rear shackle from the old leaf pack to the Deavers. And one thing to note about the Deavers is that they are side specific. So this one, U402R, R meaning right. So this pack will be for the passenger side, the right-hand side of the truck. It doesn't look like there's anything that directs a forward versus backwards, or front and rear of the leaf pack. Midnight Sun voicing from the future here. So pay attention to this clip. It's going to come up a little bit later, and I'm going to try to do my best to work stuff in as it goes, but I installed the leaf packs in the wrong direction, so I'm throwing this clip in here so that you know that direction is actually very important to install these, contrary to what I just said. If you set the bottom of the leaf springs horizontal, which side is higher? And I'll tell you, it's that one. That's the rear currently. That is the front. This is how it was installed on the truck. The shackle, if I were to put it on that side, making it the back of the truck, that would push that end, which is taller, down further, which would then rotate the axle like this. As an add-on to your Deaver order, you can get all new equipment or all new bolts and pieces. The new U-bolts are much bigger than the old one, longer that is, so they add an extra good 1.5 inches there of length, which you need because of how thick the leaf pack is in comparison. And then also included are our brand new rubber bushings, which is great. By rubber I mean polyurethane. So, and then the little brass center bushing. So what we need to do, I've got myself some red grease, and I'm going to lube these up all over the inside and the outside of the bushing, and then we just kind of press them down into place on either side, and then we're going to run, so they're going to end up looking like this inside of the leaf pack, and then we're going to run this brass bushing insert down the center through there using a rubber mallet. And once we've done that on both sides, we can go ahead and get this new leaf pack installed on the passenger side. Easy. Sweet. So now that we got the new bushings pushed into place, we're going to be pulling off the old hanger to put it onto the new leaf pack.
which once again, 19 millimeter. Now, this kit doesn't come with replacement bushings for the hangers or replacement hangers or even the bolts that hold either end in for the leaf packs. But in the future, I do intend on swapping my hangers with those from a company called Hammer Hangers, which does a complete replacement of your rear hangers on the leaf or on the frame of the truck.
Hey, Midnight Sun from the future here. Obviously, my hair's a little bit longer. So this next clip is actually from the future of the video, right? So I did jump forward like a month because I was working through some vibration problems. I cut out a lot of that footage because you guys don't really care. This is the fix for the issues. So pay attention to this next clip because it's really important, and I didn't know this going into the install, but I want to make sure that you know this going into your install for your Deavers. So that you don't have to chase the same vibration problem that I did for like a month. So here we go. Well guys, I think I know what the problem is. Because the way that I installed the leaf springs, I just kind of went off of a whim because I couldn't see anything online that told me exactly what direction they needed to be facing. I just knew that one of them said L for left and one of them said R for right. Right being passenger, left being driver. Put them up. The stickers on the driver's side, which is the one that I was going to start with, I set it to where I could read all of the stickers that were on the actual spring itself, right? Now, going to the passenger side, I thought the leaf springs were built the same direction and they were very uniform throughout the building process. So my thinking was the stickers are going to be thrown on in the same direction as the driver's side. So I need to be putting the passenger side in to where I can't read the stickers in order for them to be the same orientation in the same direction. Somehow I got that part right. So, on the passenger side, at least for me, right side, passenger side, I can read all of the things on the stickers. So on the driver's side, the stickers are on the back of the leaf pack, and it is so that you cannot read them, which I thought was weird. I had it on the front of the truck, right, facing forward, so I could read them on the driver's side, and I couldn't read them on the passenger side. Stupid. Had they just made the stickers face the direction so that you could read them, it would have been a no-brainer for install because it's all even and that's how the human brain works. So just to summarize what my jumble of ADD thoughts are putting out on the screen for you, when you have the leaf packs installed or when you install them, make sure that the part of the leaf pack, so the bushing, right, I was talking about when you're looking at it and you have one that's further away from you than the other, make sure that the further away bushing is in the back of the truck, because what that's going to do is when you have it fully installed on the truck and the leaf pack is bolted into the axle, is it's going to force the differential to rotate the drive shaft up. And that's important because if the drive shaft angle is not straight enough, then as it rotates, it'll create a vibration that you'll feel in the truck. And so I was chasing that for about a month trying to figure out what was wrong. Eventually decided to take the leaf packs off just to look at them, and that's how I sort of kind of came to that discovery. That's all going to be a different video. But yes, so make sure that the further away bushing is on the back to rotate that differential upwards, or if you're looking at it from, like I am, the passenger side, rotate it counterclockwise. I love doing these videos because it's just a guy in a driveway, you know, and I think that there's a lot of people out there on YouTube that either have a whole shop behind them, a whole team of people that are able to knock these upgrades out and all that sort of stuff on their trucks, made some badass trail rig or whatever, go out and break them all the time. But I really wanted to be able to show people that are like me, you know, that have a 9-to-5 job, or in my case are on rotating shift work, right, and have to earn every single dollar that you spend on one of these upgrades that you put into the truck. I have never received anything for free for this truck build. I've never been sponsored, nothing like that. This is all my own money, my own ambition, and I'm not going to pay a shop to install it, right? I'd rather do it myself, save thousands of dollars, and then take that money and throw it into the next upgrade, right? And this is super expensive for the suspension side of things, and not to mention if I took it into a shop, they would be charging me somewhere between, you know, $1,000, $2,000, something like that. I don't know. I didn't price it out. I wasn't even going to go that far. But either way, you have to pay the shop to be able to do it.
And I wanted to be able to show everybody, you can do it in your driveway. I'm doing it by myself, right? Would it be easier with a second person? Yeah. Would it be easier with a hydraulic lift and a shop full of air tools? And of course, it would go a lot faster. But you really get to know your truck this way. You know, you get to know your rig, you get to know the ins and outs of how it goes together, so that if something breaks, you have a more of an ability to troubleshoot it and fix it out on the trail. And you have the know-how of what you should be looking for and how things come apart, how they go back together. So I love doing this. Future me here, and something that I really didn't talk about or learn until the second time that I did this, which is a separate video. But when you install the leaf packs, the reason I couldn't align the bolts on the front and the rear hangers is because the the axle was causing the leaf packs to twist like that, right? So it's easier if you put the leaf packs in the hangers, put the bolts in, and then afterwards kick and pull and push on the axle to be able to align it to the leaf pack. I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to do that, and so stupid me put the leaf pack on the axle first and then tried to align it to the hangers. Don't do that. Hangers and then axle. It'll make your life so much easier. Sweet. So a little update here. I do have the passenger side leaf pack installed. It was a little bit of a pain. Save yourself the hassle and just take off both wheels. What I ended up running into is I could get the bolt started on the hangers, right? But I couldn't get it through to the inside, which meant that the the leaf spring itself was tilted like this, which made sense because the passenger side tire was holding up the car, which was pushing the axle over, and it was a whole thing. So save yourself the time and the effort. Just take both tires off. So the next step, really, we have both the leaf packs fully installed. The two things that we have left to do for the leaf packs is this mount right here for the brake line. We need to tap and drill a hole into the edge here so that we can get that mounted, and that's on both sides. On this side though, on the U-bolts, they are really long, and as you can see, they are sticking down quite a ways. I don't want that. I don't like that. So I'm going to go up probably 5 or 6 threads. I'm going to put a little black mark on them with a little Sharpie or something like that. And then I'm actually going to take the U-bolts back off one at a time so that I can cut them off with an angle grinder. Cut them off, smooth them down. I'll bevel the edge a little bit just so the nut goes on easier, and then reinstall them, and then we'll torque them down. I do need to find some Loctite though. I'm so excited. Holy shit. Oh. Check it out, dude.
Look at that.
Jesus Christ.
It's massive.
Oh my god, dude. Oh. Check it out.
That's clean.
Dude, these things are gorgeous, man. Look at that. Wow.
That shit's clean, bro.
Oh my god, it looks so good. Canadian built, dude.
Nice.
Sick. So the torque value, not super known according to Google or anybody else for these Deaver leaf packs. They do have recommendations written on the sticker on the side here, which are all, you sound... Anyways. All right, yeah, so I'm not really following that chart. I did go onto Google and I looked up the OEM Tacoma leaf spring U-bolt torque specs, which is right around 37 foot-pounds. And the first one on here is like 60, so that's a lot. So I'm not gonna do that per the recommendation, and I assume all liability. Anyways, so I brought it up to right around 35, and then I pushed it up to 45, and you do it in an X pattern. It doesn't really matter what X you do, but yeah.
So I threw the Loctite on it, torqued them down. Now we're working on the shock towers, which are super easy, kind of. So you have to use some sort of a vice grip, not a vice grip, oh yeah, I guess it's a vice grip. Is that a vice grip?
Locking pliers?
Yeah, lock pliers. We'll go with that. So yeah, you get those on the top where it's kind of like this flat spot right here on the top of the nut, or on the top of the shock tower, and then you have a 12mm bolt that you undo like a bolt. And then of course on the bottom, we already did these, but these were 15s on both sides, and you just kind of pull the bar out, and that'll take out the rear shock. Now the interesting thing is for installing the new rears, the remote reservoir comes with a couple of mounts. On the driver's side, it's super easy because it just falls right into place. But on the passenger side, of course, Toyota is going to be difficult. This is the wrong one. So we have the bracket here, which has this little hole in the top, which lines up perfectly with whatever this random bolt is right there. But I'm going to have to drill a hole somewhere right in here in order to run this extra bolt in order to mount this. On the driver's side, there's a hole that lines up perfectly for this, but on the passenger side, I'm gonna have to drill it out. Well, it is the next day, and I was just gonna do a quick side-by-side of the rear shocks, because I didn't do that before. Yep, so you can see they're pretty much, I mean, they are the same shock size. Actually, this is supposed to go this way. What's also interesting is that the little, like, guards for the, like, shock shaft is, different. The other thing that's really huge that I noticed is the size of the bushings at the top. So these are really, really small, and these are much bigger. So I don't know if that means that they'll be, you know, a little bit more durable over time. You can see these are starting to get all disgusting. And then of course, the Elkas come with your compression and rebound fine-tune adjusts, which will mess with those a decent amount when I get there. Midnight Sun from the future here, and I totally forgot to do something, so I had to do it after I installed the suspension, but for you guys, it's gonna be in the right place for you to do it. So before you get the rear shock installed, leaf pack aside, doesn't matter, these bushings right here, this one on top and the one underneath, need to have a grease basically thrown on there as like a protectant. So Elka included this stuff right here, and this is some sort of I assume it's silicone based, I don't know, it's really freaking sticky, but it's like a lubricant or grease sort of thing, and you use it on those bearings. So basically you've got your flat metal washer thingamajig, like a perch, I don't really know what you call it, put a whole bunch of that lube on there, that grease, put your bushing on top, lube up the other side, put the shock tower in, right, and then on the other side of the perch, right up here on top of the perch, put more lube, put your bushing, more lube, put your plate, and then torque down your bolt right there on top. So not difficult, and that's just there to protect the bushing and help keep it from basically friction destroying it over time, and vibrations and all that sort of stuff. So make sure that you do that. And the rear shocks are pretty much done. The last thing we got to do is get the tires on. Well, technically I still got to tap these, but I'll do those later so I can attach the brake line. We're gonna get the tires on, get it rested on the ground, and then we're going to Loctite and torque the hanger bolts, which are also going to be right around that 37 foot-pounds. That is incredible.
Your suspension is unfazed.
Unfazed. It doesn't even care.
It does not give.
It doesn't even care. Dude, that is amazing. Oh my God, dude.
You just gave yourself 3/4 ton.
The squeak is gone! No squeak! Great success! Great success!
Well, rear is done. I finished getting the hangers torqued down once again, right around 35, 37 foot-pounds. I think I put them at 37 and a half. Yep. And that's what the Toyota manufacturer website recommends. So that's what I did. Anyways, so those are done. Everything is torqued. The only thing that I haven't done on the rear is the drill and tap the hole for the brake line. I'll do that later eventually. So we're gonna pop over to the front and get those done.
Why are you so mean to me? Why are you so sensitive?
Yeah, so this one, basically what they have you do, look at how tiny my spindles are. Oh man, and my ball joints are, that's all grease coming out of the ball joints. Those need to be replaced. It's fine, I'm replacing this whole assembly eventually, but it's almost $2,000 just for the upper.
Is it made of platinum and wipe your ass?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I only buy premium parts. Anyways, so we got 3 bolts on the top hat right here. They're probably 12s. I don't know, I'd have to check. But we got those 3. And then we got this one down here, which is probably still a 17. And then it's recommended, oh, we're also gonna have to take off the sway bar, which I don't know the size of those bolts. I'll check all of that. But that's where the remote reservoir is gonna be mounted onto. We may have to undo the spindle from the upper control arm right here, which is just this cotter pin and this castle nut. This is a crazy looking cotter pin. It literally sticks in right there, and then it just clips in on the back, just like that. That's crazy. So these are 14 millimeter. They didn't hold the 14 is a little bit loose, but it's all right. And then this is a 19. No, it should just break loose on its own.
There you go. Ah, I see it's got a taper on it. Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. You know what I forgot?
Come on.
You gotta undo the ABS line real quick. So we got a bolt right here, which looks like it's probably a 10 mil, maybe an 8. And then we got one right there. No, it's fine. Which is also gonna be the same size. And then we've got the plug right down here, which you just insert a screwdriver into the back of it and then push outwards, and then you'll be able to pop that off. So we're gonna kind of double down on both sides here because the sway bar is in the way of pulling the shock out. So I disconnected the sway bar right here on whatever this little spindly thing is called. And that was a 14 millimeter, and then so are the 2 bolts holding the sway bar in here. So I got that one off. I'm gonna pull these 2, and then we're gonna pull those same 3 bolts off on the other side so that we can drop the sway bar down and be able to rotate it in some direction so that the shock can pull out through the bottom right here.
Now that is an interesting vehicle.
Alright, you let it go. Oh yeah, look at that. Sweet, so here's that quick side-by-side comparison here. Pretty much the same height, but you can see more preload on this shock spring as well, which is super cool. And of course you got the remote reservoir. The bushings at the bottom just look, I don't know, they just look better. They look beefier. The top hat is, instead of this being like this weird fabricated dual plate thing with this really crappy bushing at the top, it's like a legitimate pivot point kind of thing on another one right here. It looks like it's much higher quality. I don't know. Looks so good. So we're gonna go ahead and get these mounted in, which, oh, that's connected. We're gonna be probably setting it on top of the splash guard right there, but it's gonna mount in the factory sway bar location just like that. Clean, clean, clean.
No, make it dirtier.
So this one, you will need a friend. It's very, very difficult to push the lower control arm and the upper control arm around in order to get this shock mounted in there. So you make sure you have a buddy, someone who's got a little bit of strength or a little bit of weight behind them, because it'll make it way easier to do this part. I got one.
Nice.
Let me get the other 2 lined up, and then I'll thread tie them. Hold up, they're not lined up.
It's not lined up.
Hammer.
Ready?
Bottom bolts, 20, 21.
For the bottom of the shock tower?
Yeah. 20.
Elka included. This is actually super cool. So the kit, you have 2 long bolts that go through.
Into the frame.
I'm talking to the camera.
Ah, sorry.
You got 2 long bolts that go in to the recess portions that are drilled out on the actual shock tower, and then the right to the right of that are 2 threaded portions, and those are for your sway bar connection. So they include the shorter bolts and new washers. So once we get these installed fully, we'll get the sway bar thrown on. And I don't know what fucking hex key that is. So it is going to be an 8 millimeter hex. And this is going to be a pain in the ass, but we're going to make it happen. Hey, so learn from our mistakes. And before you install the remote reservoir like tower, put your sway bar back down, because I can't rotate it to the right because the body's in the way. And I can't rotate it to the left because the bracket's in the way. So put that back down before you install that.
There you go.
You okay?
Yep.
What was that, your finger?
Yeah, it's fine. I got 9 more.
Yep.
It's on.
Sounds great. That's perfect.
What did you do?
Where'd you pinch?
Right between.
So we got the sway bar back on. Still need to Loctite and tighten down this sway bar connect right here. And then we got to tighten down the castle nut in order to connect the spindle to the upper. But it is balled back together. I will say that this right here is rubbing ever so slightly on my upper control arm, which I don't like, but there's not a heck of a lot that I can do about it right now. And when I get the bigger upper control arms, they're going to be a little bit wider, which means that we're not going to be bumping into the connection for the remote reservoir. So fingers crossed, I'm not gonna have to worry about it too much as long as I don't do any hard wheeling from now until I get the new uppers. So we got a few steps left. Main things, we have to put, I bought this stuff, Viz Torque, whatever this is. Anyways, it's red paint. And so it's a like tamper seal, tamper tape paint kind of thing. What we do is on all of the bolts that we torqued down, I'm gonna throw a little bit of this paint on there, and I can check them periodically and see if the bolts have moved while driving around, because it tells me whether or not torque has been broken on them, which would be bad. But, well, my dudes, it is a new day, new problems. So I have measured the height that I got on the front end of the Tacoma following the lift install, and it is not what I was expecting it to be. So the stock height the change from stock height gave me about an inch of lift, which obviously I wanted to get 3 inches of lift. So the truck is a little sagged in the front. The rear gave me about 4 inches, which is expected because the weight is not 700 pounds yet, which is what the springs are rated for, minimum 700 pounds. So they sit up pretty high, and I'm okay with a little bit of a front slope, but not that much. So on top of that, I got an alignment, and the vibration that I was feeling from the front end didn't go away, so I'm kind of chasing that one. Whenever I figured that out, I'll throw that into this video sometime after this clip. One thing that Elka included with their kit is a preload adjuster. And so looking at the instructions that they have set up here, as I drop stuff, basically you undo, there's a little like locking screw on the preload ring, which is the black one up at the top here. And then if you want to add preload, aka compress the spring, raising the front end up, you're going to be rotating the spring or the ring clockwise using this tool. So I'll stick my breaker bar into the end, we'll hook it on, and then I'll rotate it clockwise. The other thing that they mention is that you should operate the preload in about 5 turn increments, and you get no more than 10 turns. Otherwise you need a new spring. So I don't know exactly how much lift that is going to give us, but we'll find out. So you can see the preload spring, mine is red right here, and then this locking nut right up here in the front, the silver one, which they include the Allen key for. So I'm gonna go ahead and lift the truck up off the ground. The other thing that they mention is that you don't wanna unscrew the locking nut so far that it falls out, because then it's gonna be impossible to put back in. So their recommendation is about 1 full turn counterclockwise to loosen up that locking nut, because if you go any more than that, then you run the risk of it falling out. Sweet. So I just adjusted the preload. It actually was surprisingly easy. With the truck off of the ground, the upper control arm gives you plenty of space to be able to get to the preload ring. And then I just used the hex key, and then I just, went one side of the key at a time. So six times that I put it in and twisted down, which would be 1 full rotation in order to loosen it, and then vice versa when I went back. All these little dots around here make it super easy to put this little key into. And if you push it all the way to the edge of the shock tower, you can actually do 2 of these dots at a time. So with 5 turns of the preload spring, it gave me about another inch of lift. So I'm gonna do the full 10 on both sides, and that should give me the 3 inches that I'm looking for, which would be incredible. 1, 2, 6.
10.
Give it a quick side profile. So it definitely looks better. Still a bit tall on the rear. But like I said, that'll level out once I get the steel bumper with the full-size spare mounted on the back. And when I do my smart cap. Anyways, so back to the alignment shop. Got to get another alignment done now that I've lifted the front end another inch and some change. And then tonight I'll check out the headlight situation. I might have to adjust those a little bit. So here's the list up on the screen right now of the before and after where it comes to all the heights around the truck. As you can see, I have about 3-ish inches on the front of height gain, and then on the rear it's at 4 over stock. But once again, that should settle down to about 3 in the rear once I get more weight. I was expecting a 4-inch lift from doing this whole suspension overhaul, but I realized after getting very confused about why I only had 3 inches of lift, the stock TRD suspension gives you about a 1-inch lift over the SR5, and I think the TRD off-road. So the TRD Pro suspension gives you an inch of lift already, which if you add that inch to the 3 inches that I got out of the kit, it'd be 4 inches. So a little disappointing because I thought I was gonna have 4 extra inches all over the current truck, but sneak peek, if you saw them in the background, I have new tires for the truck. There's still a lot of things I gotta do before I can put those tires on, but those are 35s compared to the about 31.5 that the Goodyears are. So that should give me an extra inch-ish on top of what I've already done, which is gonna be super cool. The only place that's really gonna matter too much is the lower control arms, because as you can see, those are pretty much the same height, obviously, because it's just the angle that changed. And then the rear differential skid, which is also at the same height because it's not affected by the suspension at all. So yeah, there you have it. And I'm sure I'm gonna have some final notes to talk about from the desk. So here we go. So I have kind of failed you guys because I posted my old tires for sale and already sold them, which went out. They went really fast. Anyways, I have the new tires that I already put on the truck, and so this video, that's not what it's about. Obviously, it's about the lift portion of it, but I didn't catch any footage of me standing next to my truck with the TRD tires after I did the lift. So I'm sorry, but it is what it is. All the measurements, obviously, are based off of the TRD tires and not the GLenders that I have on there right now, but I can show you post lift and post tires how much taller the truck is. Let's get you a little higher there compared to my head right now. So like before my head was basically level with the top of the roof rack, and I've got a solid 4 to 5 inches above me already right now. You know, my profile sitting up next to the hood, basically it was torso chilling on the hood, and now it is effectively up to mid chest, which is crazy cool. And then looking at the front of the truck, or not the front, but the side profile, look how much freaking taller the truck is off of that. So the actual measurements for the height of the truck now with these bigger tires will be in that video when it comes out. But I wanted to make sure that you were able to see that side profile of me standing next to the truck after the lift. And then I'll do a, I don't know, a little montage thing showing both of them next to each other here or whatever. These Elka shocks are pretty incredible. I do enjoy them. As I've mentioned multiple times in this video, I wish that I had rebound adjustment. I have the high and low speed compression. I wish I had rebound. There's a lot of bounce from the front. I shouldn't say a lot, but it definitely likes to lift and then seat. And you can feel it when you're driving around and you hit a really, really heavy bump. The springs really send the front end flying, and the shock does what it can. And it might be because of those, or that extra 1.5-inch-ish adjustment that I got out of spinning the preload down. That might be part of that. But at the same time, I was expecting to get that height out of the shock from factory, so I shouldn't have these issues. Is what it is. They are very comfortable though. They're definitely a huge upgrade from the previous Fox shock that I had, and I'm very, very happy with my purchase. Eventually, I might you know, when I do my upper and lower control arm swap, I might buy the control arms that come with a spot that allows me to add an extra shock. So maybe in the future on the build, I just add an extra shock tower that gives me a little bit more rebound adjustability, which will be sick. But yeah, for what I got right now, it works really good. I'm excited to get them out on the trail, especially with the bigger thing, and I'm looking forward to it. So. I have been playing around with the high and low speed compression adjusters, right? And I will say there is a decent amount of play before they click. So I have to re-film this segment because the camera was all kind of messed up. So if we're looking at the adjusters themselves, that's these two right here. That's what the DC stands for. It's the dual compression adjusters. You actually get 8 clicks of adjustment per adjuster. So the high speed compression is going to be the bigger one, the black one, and the low speed compression is the smaller one, or the red one. And so if you rotate it counterclockwise or clockwise, whatever, if you rotate it until it clicks, which is each of the sides of the hexagon basically is a click. So you rotate it one full nub, that's a click. Rotating it counterclockwise is going to make it softer, and then rotating it clockwise is going to make it stiffer. Which is super cool that I have that ability. So driving down the road, you adjust it 1 or 2 clicks is the recommendation for adjustment, each at a time, right? Go for a drive, hit some obstacles, hit some bumps, see how it feels, and then adjust them further if you need to. And so I have mine not very dialed in, but I have them relatively soft on the high speed compression and relatively stiff on the low speed compression, just to kind of minimize the amount of vibrations that I feel on the road and that kind of stuff, just from general driving. But super cool that I have that ability. So something else that's really important, I think, to go over that you guys should be very aware of, just legality of lifting your truck. So I found this website right here, and of course you can go to the Department of Transportation and all that sort of stuff, and they'll have, it's pretty much all the same information. This was just this website had a convenient grouping of everything, which is pretty interesting. So it gives you, so I live in South Carolina, right? So South Carolina Code of Laws, and it gives you basically like what title or whatever this is covered by, right? And for those of you that don't live in South Carolina, this website has every individual state, right? So if you click on the main thing, it'll bring up a list of every state. You just click on your state. But it talks about vehicle size, so how tall it can be, how wide it can be for individual like passenger vehicles, right? Brakes, steering, suspension, unlawful to elevate or lower a passenger vehicle by more than 6 inches, but pickup trucks are exempt from this law. So if you wanted to raise or lower your Camry, 6 inches is the limit that you got. So when I lower the speed, I can't lower it more than 6 inches, but it doesn't matter because it's already within 6 inches of the ground. So like, whatever. Yeah, no frame height restrictions. There's no bumper height restrictions. And then it talks about like headlights, the maximum and minimum height for headlights. So I did measure my headlights before and after the lift. So I did measure my headlights, and I could do it again, but I was definitely within this 54-inch max height for headlights and tail lights, so that's really not too big of a deal. They got fog lights on there too. Basically, when it comes to your lift, these are the 2 things that I really wanted to show you, and it was talking about the pickup trucks being exempt in the state of South Carolina from more than a 6-inch lift,
which I don't have anyways, but the light height is really the restriction, and that's important for other drivers on the road, not you. You know, everyone's been behind that person, or sorry, in front of that person that's got their lights from a lifted truck looking directly into your rearview mirror, and it's bright as shit. And that's because they didn't readjust them after they lifted their truck, or they're too tall. But yeah, maximum number of lights that can be turned on at the front of a vehicle at any one time is 4, which is really interesting. That is why your fog lights turn off like manufacturers design your fog lights to kick off whenever you turn your high beams on, because you're only allowed to have 4 lights on the front. So any of y'all that are out there that are driving around with ditch lights on going down the road, turn them off. Stop making us all look bad. Anyways, I wanted to show you that. That's pretty much it.
Well, there you have it, my dudes. That is the Elka 2.5 DC remote reservoir shocks for the Tacoma. I mean, they're the same shocks they use throughout the different small truck platforms. It just so happens that I have a Tacoma. They look incredible. They feel really, really good, especially on the full soft setting. Driving around town, that takes bumps like absolutely nothing. I hit a speed bump and it's just slight cab movement, you know, super cool. And I hope that the video was able to kind of show that. It's really difficult to film a feeling, and I don't know if I was able to really capture that all that well, and I'm sorry if it didn't come out as good as it could have. But there it is. So they look incredible, they feel incredible. I'm able to fit my 35s. I need to do a couple more things like trimming the fenders and whatnot. Those are all separate videos, so if you guys are interested in seeing how 35s get stuffed into these wheel wells of a 3rd generation Tacoma, then please come back and hang out on the channel some more, because all those videos are coming out in the future. So anyways, there you have it. She looks great. I hope you've learned something. I definitely learned a lot. I'd never installed suspension before. I did do it just in my driveway, which a lot of you probably, hopefully, maybe doing the same thing. So I hope you're able to get a couple of tips and tricks on sort of kind of how to do that, because I didn't have a whole lot of that on the internet when I was doing this. Anyways, learn from my mistakes, make some of your own, but definitely learn from the mistakes of others, and hopefully a couple of my mistakes will allow you to have a little bit of an easier job while you're putting these shocks in on your Tacoma. So I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, come back, see you again, and till the next one. And that's not out. Hello. You're a derp, but you're so cute.